Hi, my name is
Okay.
Patty Moore. I'm an American independent journalist, and I am here today with Wael. Um, he is a Palestinian living outside the area. What I wanted to do as an American, what I've noticed with other Americans, most people have no idea what the Palestinians are like. I actually have been to the West Bank, so I have met Palestinians one on one. This typical stereotype for me has been broken. I've seen, people are normal and nice, but so many people here that I'm meeting still have no idea, and their only impression of Palestinians has been through the U.S. Media, which is biased. So, Wael, you were born in Gaza, the Gaza
Yes.
Strip, in
Mm.
1968, and
Yes.
then you mentioned you left there at 19 years old, but have been back to work in the area. Um, I know very little about Gaza because there's been, quite a blockade, a siege, as you know.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes.
and so many of us have never communicated with the Palestinians inside the Gaza Strip um, until the last 8 months of horror. So what I would like to know about your life, and you did live in Gaza while it was under occupation.
Yes. We were actually after I was born in '68, and by the time I become like we were living in a refugee camp, which called Jabalia Refugee camp.
Mhm.
So most of the Palestinians who are I mean, they are displaced from their 48 land, which where I came from 48 land, which is called Israel, but they call it Israel. And this is was like my father and my grandfather was, kicked out and being displaced from their home, and they take their land. So we became refugees in Gaza. Around 75% of the Palestinians in Gaza are originally refugee in Gaza. We are originally from the what's called Israel, So it's a
Mhm.
Palestine. The Palestinian land has been taken and by forests and they occupy it. So they moved. Most of the Palestinians who are very close to Gaza moved to Gaza. Some of them went to West Bank, and some of them went to diaspora. Some of them Lebanon, and people in Haifa. Some people in Syria. Some people in Egypt. So Palestinians being scattered all over the area after 1948 or 1967. After most of the 67, after 67 went to West Bank and Gaza, and they lived there as refugees. And United Nations became a Norwa as United Nations for refugees, being taking care of our needs as a refugee as tents. We used to live in tents at the beginning. Then they built us houses. Well, not even a house. It's like it's blocks with what's called metal in the top. So it was so heated, so hot, so things. It's like a shuttle for Palestinian refugees. And for me, I grew up in Shijaiya, and after that we moved to Jabalia camp for 5 years. Then my dad bought a small piece of land, and they start to build something in Gaza City for us, and we moved to Gaza. So since that time, we went to schools. The schools were there it's a UN school for refugees. So there is two kind of schools. The schools is for refugees and for citizens who are citizen of Gaza, and that was a public school. In the public school, in elementary school, they have Hebrew. They have to teach them Hebrew because it's under Israeli military occupation. So they have to teach them the Israeli language. So, but in UN school, we never learn the language anyway because we were under United Nations curriculum and syllabus.
Did
So
you always did you always feel like a refugee? Because I have a hard time understanding how the refugee camps work. I did want to visit a refugee camp when I was visiting West Bank, and it was something happened, so I was not able. Did it feel like a refugee camp?
It's a refugee, you know, it's a camp, you know, it's something that is not for human consumption, you know, where there is no water, you have to go and carry the water, no electricity, you know, houses are close to each other, you can listen to and hear your neighbor, you know, no space to play, there's no playgrounds, nothing, you know, it just houses built by each others with the metals and just people like a massive people living in that area. So
Wow.
being in a refugee camp, there's no privacy, nothing. There is no sewage. There is no sanitation, nothing, nothing. And after that, Israeli tried to blow up these houses too. If you do anything against Israelis, I mean, as a resistance or throwing stones or shooting at the Israelis, so they come and blow up your house, and you are not allowed to build another house, and nobody allowed to use this land or this house under Israeli's military law. So we've been living under Israeli military laws, which is like the same like a British law at that time of everything has to go with through military. So if you want to build one room in the refugee camp, you need a permission from the military, from the governor, Israeli governor at that time. So I remember that we were always like have demonstration. We have rallies always against the Israelis. When we were in school, they attack our school, they shoot at us. That you know, first time I was in jail, like when they catch us out of the school throwing stones, and they took us to a camp. You know, they kidnap us like the Israeli soldier. They took us as a kid, and they start to beat us up, and they took us in this like tents by the beach. We were like more than 300 youngster. We were like 14, 15 years old. So this is the experience we experience with the Israelis, and we always like, you know, trying to avoid the roads they are walking because they can stop you anytime. They have checkpoints everywhere, you know, and you have to hold, like if you are 16 years old, you have to hold an ID, an Israeli ID, which Palestinian ID. This ID has to have name, number, and everything. So to identify, if you are not carrying this ID and forget it at home, they will jail you. They will take you to jail. You know, they will detain you for, you know, unless your family bring their IDs, your ID to them, and they will they beat you up, they torture you, you know, because for them we are all, you know, all they see us as a terrorist. They never see us as a human being. And they've been treating, you know, treating us as a terrorist always. We are, you know, we always, they live in dangers, like to be with us or to even, they are having a lot of weapons, a lot of machine guns. We have nothing, you know, we are just sometimes throwing stones at them or burning tires. So if they catch you, they will beat the hell out of you. They break your bones, and they have done a lot of things. So I
Why?
experienced that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why is the punishment so severe for throwing stones? I've never understood that, even as a, you know, as a
This,
young person seeing it on the news.
yeah, they want to break your hands, so you never hold, you know, being able to throw stone at the Israelis because they consider themselves are the superpower, and we are inhuman. We are not human. We are we shouldn't even, they are the masters. We shouldn't provoke. We shouldn't demonstrate. We shouldn't say no. to the occupation. So we need to live under occupation with the miserable life, with no work. The only work they have to let us to work in Israeli area for the people, for the, I mean, like for the adults, and constructions. So you cannot go to West Bank, you cannot go anywhere. If you go to Jerusalem, you need a permission. If you go to West Bank, you need a security permission. And this has been happening over and over for how many years? Like until I was the first Intifada. Actually, the first things was before the Intifada, my oldest brother was killed at Birzeit University in West Bank, and he was in the fourth year of his biochemistry. And what happened at that time, they have sit-in strike. And the Israeli came and they shot the students, they killed him, and they even stopped the ambulance and the ambulance to pick them up to take them to hospital. And he wasn't dying, you know, he was shot in the heart, but he was bleeding for hours, and they were beating him up while he was, you know, while he's bleeding. So, and they stopped the medical aid or the ambulance to take them to hospitals. Then they took the body and they give us the body after 2 days. After they took it to autopsy and they give it to us to our home. We didn't know that my brother was killed. We knew it like later in the evening. You know, everybody like coming to our house, checking on us if what's happening, you know. And at that day, my family, you know, we heard the news, but they never mentioned my brother name. And I remember my mother was saying, "Oh my God, God, you know, I wish God will help the mother of these people. There's two people killed from Gaza, my brother and the other guy, Jabalia Refugee and Saeb Dahab." And she was saying, "God bless, you know, God help their mother." She didn't know she is the mother that her son, you know,
Oh,
oldest son.
wow.
Yeah,
She heard
so
that two students had been shot.
no, they said they were
Okay.
protesting that Israeli not allowing for the student to cross with they have a cross. I mean, checking points. Israeli military checking points, and the students have exams, final exams, and they are stopping the student to enter the university. So the student has a certain strike. The Israeli came and start to shoot, and they injured around 500 students and killed two students, which my brother and the other one.
What year?
Jawad
What year was that? I'm so sorry for your loss. What year was that? You were probably a young man at the time, young
I was just
teenager.
finishing high school. I was only waiting for my brother to graduate. Then I just finished my high school. I'm waiting. This is how is the norms in our country or our, you know, the oldest son, they get to after he graduates, so he will help my dad for the next. So I was the next son who's supposed to go to university after. So, you know, unfortunately that, you know, I was waiting for him to finish, but he finished with God bless his soul, you know, because we'll never forget him. And he was an angel, you know, he was an angel to me, to everybody, actually. Everybody knew him. He was an
An
angel.
angel?
Yeah. He was an angel, you know, he was like, you know, a good boy, very smart, A students, you know, and they just killed you know, killed the happiness of the house. I remember a lot of people came and demonstrate. A lot of people came to our house at that time. And I remember during the funeral, they brought the body at around midnight and only allow for 8 people to go to the grave. They didn't give us the body to pray and to take him to the mosque to do our you know, goodbye or last goodbye for him, for
They
the
held
family.
the Israelis held his body and they didn't give his body to you for the normal funeral rites?
Yes,
And then they said only 8 people?
yes. 8 people from the family. We went to the cemetery. They brought the body. And I remember that touching him, like they were stitching him from head to toe. And I remember touching him because I was, me and my brother-in-law, the only one stayed everybody, my mother, my sisters, everybody in my family, they pass away. When they pass out, you know. When they saw him, they fainted. They couldn't see it, you know.
They
So I
fainted.
remember, yeah, they fainted. So only me and my brother-in-law, the only one is stayed, like still, were like, and I remember that, you know, touching him, I could have see his body is empty. And this is the time that what Israeli were killing Palestinians, take them to Abu Qir autopsy, where is the in Yafa or somewhere in Israel, and they take the bodies, the organs from inside. And I'm sure, you know, I've never forget that. I was touching him. There's nothing, you know, in his, like in his, inside his organ. It's like stitching him, like this big stitches, like from here to there. And this, I feel nothing inside when I was touching him.
Oh my God.
And it was hard, you know, it was hard, it was big loss for us. And then we carry on in our life. Then the Intifada came out, and we have to. I have to be part of this Intifada because we are resistance. We have to resist the occupation. Father there and here, you know, always demonstration. During the Intifada, there were Israelis. They were killing and shooting everywhere, and it was protesting. The Intifada happened when the Israelis run over nine Palestinian workers coming from home, coming from their work to back to Gaza. They run them over in a cemetery and they killed the 9 people. And that was inject the Intifada. This is what made the Intifada. And it was Palestinian license plate from Gaza, and he ran them over. It wasn't an accident. He just went over them with his cemetrella. He fled them to the ground, and this is where is the Intifada started in
Oh,
7th of December 1987.
okay.
So
Was that a sense that it just was too much? That, I mean, what is it like to live without a sense of, you know, freedom and autonomy where you're under somebody else's
no, it's
control
well-being.
and rule?
Live as a slave, or to live with no freedom, with no you know, future. Everything controlled by the Israelis, everything controlled by the militaries. If anything you want to do is completely to feel oppressed and anger and always have agony inside you. You want to do something. And for us as a young Palestinians, we have to do something. So we had to go out and throw stones at the Israelis. We have to tell them enough is enough. They were shooting us. They were they were, you know, using tanks against us. They're using machine guns.
Oh, you're on mute. Oh, there you go.
300,000 Palestinians. 300,000 Palestinians being jailed during the first Intifada.
300,000 were Palestinians were jailed.
Yes, out. We were at that time almost 1 million people, less than 1 million people at that time. So imagine 30% of Palestinians being in jail in the first Intifada.
From no, you moved out of Gaza then when you said, I think you said 19, but you stayed in touch. You have family there. What, I mean, I keep hearing Israelis keep saying, well, we left the Gaza Strip in 2005, but it was still under control, wasn't it? I mean, from 2005 until
I was there. I
it was
was
under
there.
siege.
I was there. Israeli left Gaza after a lot of resistance happened in Gaza first. Second things, they left Gaza with nothing, no, and they didn't leave Gaza. They just left their settlements. 3 settlements or 4 settlements were there, and they
Okay.
left Gaza. And
The,
but
the
Israelis,
settlements left, but Israel
yes,
still maintained
yeah,
control.
it's command and control of areas, which the checkpoints you from Gaza to go to West Bank or anywhere, in Rafah borders, the one get you out of Gaza to Arab world or Egypt or anywhere. The same with Kerem Shalom, with Karma Abu Salim. This is the Karma Abu Salim or Kerem Shalom, they call it. It's like the merchant border where you bring the trucks and the same with Karni. The same with Karni is controlled by Israel. Also, you have the sea. The sea, if you are Palestinian, you have the whole Mediterranean Sea. We have 40 kilometer in the beach as Gaza Strip, 40 kilometer at the beach. We are not allowed to go more than 3 kilometers
3
inside the
kilometers?
beach, inside the sea to fish or for people. So, 3 kilometer, 3 kilometer, that's it. 3 kilos, kilo nut, which is because of the sea, it's kilo sea nut. So this is the maximum. Sometimes they make it to a kilo. Sometimes they are not allowed even to go in. For us, when we were under occupation, I remember before even during the Intifada and before, we are not allowed to be at the beach, but after 6 as Palestinians to even Gaza become it's very summer area. We got 40 degrees in summer now, and the only things for us get out of this heat is the beach, or to go to the beach or to go swim, because the sea water is a little bit chilly there. But unfortunately, and we don't have electricity, we don't have enough water. So where are you gonna go? We don't have swimming pools, we don't have. So only way for us for entertainment or to get out of our misery is to go to the beach and swim, or this is the only way. And unfortunately, that's people never let us. From 19 years of my life, I've never been in the beach at night at 6 o'clock p.m., which is almost sunset. Never.
What about the political situation on the Palestinian side? My theory is when people live without freedom, it's very difficult to have a civil society and develop political leaders.
Say again, I missed sorry.
Okay, so I've studied political science, and then my thinking is when people are living under an occupation and living without freedom, how are they supposed to be able to develop a civil society? Now, in the past few years,
this is that we are as a Palestinians. I think this is something that they bless us with. And I believe that Palestinians are very smart people. And we were the most educated people by 1985, according to United Nations. We are the most, or the biggest holders of master degree and PhD in the world in 1985. This is UN. This is according to United Nations and UN and UNESCO. So Israeli always deprive us from education. Israel always want us to be uneducated, to be slave, working in their land, or building their settlements or do construction. So they never want us to be educated, because education is a dangerous for the occupation. Because the more illiterate you are, the more slavery work you can do. But when you are smarter and educated, then there is things you can change in this world. And for us as Palestinians, we always eager about the education of our children. Even my father and my family, we all educated. We all my family finished school. All my family went to universities. All my brother and sisters, And the same with me right now, with my son. And the main things for me is education, even if I cannot afford it. But I will make sure my son or my daughters take their education. This is something special about Palestinians, and and thanks God that We have a lot of educated people. By the way, Gaza, the one they are talking about, Gaza, 300 to around 400 a degree and master degree and PhD students are, I mean, graduates in Gaza, the one that are genociding now. You know that? We have more than in Gaza City, in Gaza Strip alone. I'm not talking about West Bank. I'm talking about Gaza. In the last 15 years, more than 300 to 400,000 Palestinian graduates.
See, we never were
from university,
learned that.
degrees, money.
Yeah. We didn't, I mean,
So,
I can't speak for all Americans, but I can say from what I've seen, we've only seen on our news, we've only seen the clips when there's a conflict and it's very limited, but we know now how the media has been censored. We have not.
When Palestinian Authority came and Yasser Arafat, and they told us, okay, we want to build Palestine, we want to make, we build everything. Everything has been built, ministries, schools, hospitals. We built more than 2,000 schools during the Palestinian Authority before the Israelis take over. I mean, Israelis been blown up. 2,000 schools. They built almost 100 hospitals and clinics around Gaza Strip, an infrastructure. We built all the infrastructures. Gaza become a good country to live. And this is what we are want to build our country, but unfortunately, with this restriction and Israelis being occupying the borders and everything, always they come and destroy. The first thing Israeli come and destroy is the infrastructure. What they done in 2009, excuse me, if you can see them even in West Bank, when they went to Jenin, they go with the bulldozer. The first thing, they take the land out, they take the asphalt, they destroy everything. So they are the most destructive people you ever see in your life. This is an occupation just destroying you. And they destroy all the buildings. We have high-rise building in Gaza. We have ministries, we have everything in Gaza. They destroyed it all during Arafat, not now. We rebuild it again and they destroy again. So the Israeli just there as a destruction machine and a killing machine. That's it. They never been more than that.
Some people have asked me, well, we know that the Israelis require their people to serve in the military. What is it like for the Palestinians? What percentage of their brigades on the Palestinian side, what percentage? There's no requirement that people, you could say, serve. You don't have.
We don't have military. We have police. According to the peace accord, the Oslo, there's something trapped us as Palestinian. They said, okay, we'll bring you Palestinian people and Palestinian state. Within 5 years, we'll have the final solutions of West Bank, Jerusalem, and return of refugees. And it's been 35 years until now. And this is according to Oslo Agreement. The Oslo Agreement is supposed to be it's 2 stages or 3 stages. First stage, Palestinians return home. The second stage is building West Bank, withdraw from all West Bank. And after that, discuss the international, the Jerusalem and the borders and return of refugees. And never happened. The Israeli just give Gaza, Jericho, some West Bank, and they build settlements over and over. For the last 30 years, they expand. You saw, if you were in the West Bank, you saw the misery there. They built the wall, the Abatar wall. In Jerusalem, you cannot go. You need 3-4 hours as Palestinian to go around the world to go to Jerusalem or to go to your village. Same.
And that's what it would have been very hard for me to understand had I not visited in 2020 and seeing the different roads, and there's some roads that you can drive on, some, you know, some
You know,
roads you can't.
you can
And
go from
settlements
Ramallah.
were all around. And I don't think most Americans realize the impact of the settlements and the settlers in the Palestinian territories.
Before 2000, before they built this wall, you know, you could have go from Ramallah to Jerusalem in half an hour driving.
And now what is
And
it?
as Palestinians with the Palestinian road, but now for Palestinians they cannot take the road the same, like they have to go around because of the settler are using the roads. They're building special roads for the settlers, and we have to, Palestine have to go from a gravel and other way around to go to West Bank or to go some area in the West Bank and Jerusalem. So they already separating everything. They make us as a apartheid country. Like these people are, you know, cantons. Like they are building, you know, separating West Bank from Hebron, Hebron from, you cannot go to from Hebron to Nablus, from Ramallah. So it make it to us impossible to live or to have a communication as a state. And
I heard,
they are,
yeah, I
they
heard
plan.
that's one of the hardest things for Palestinians is that they can't visit their own family because of all
Yes,
the walls and checkpoints. They can't go from one place to 40 minutes away because, I mean, I heard that's the hardest, one of the hardest things for the Palestinians.
this wall separate people inside the wall and outside the wall.
Yeah.
And you saw is the wall is 10 meter high.
And some of the kids that are trying to go to school, they say have to go through multiple checkpoints just to get to school. And then if it happens, if they close it, because they can arbitrarily close it anytime they want, just to really, I guess,
This,
just to mess with the people,
this
then they
is not,
can't get to school.
yes, this is not even six. They are not, this is not 48 land. This is 67 land. This is Palestinian land. According to agreement of 1967, that's, you know, this is our land. Even the settlements, 80% of the Israeli settlements being built after the Oslo Agreement. After the Oslo Agreement, how, you know, they are not making sense to anybody in the world. Then their narrative is over. The lies is over. It's over. It's done with. You
Yeah,
know, they
yeah,
have to understand
it's true.
Israel never wants peace. Israelis occupation never want peace. Occupation must be out of Palestinian land. Period. That's it. You didn't need to make it, oh, I'm going to make peace. Which peace are you talking about? You're
Right.
killing, genociding, torturing, building settlements, bringing people not even belong to the country. They just give him a passport and he become an owner of the house, an owner of my house, an owner of my country, and I cannot even go to that house. This is exactly what they are doing.
I think you're right. I think the curtain has fallen, but it's still a huge learning curve, you know, for so many of us to really get up to speed because there's just so much and it's so difficult and so unbelievable. But I wanted to ask because I don't want to, I want to wrap up somewhat time soon. I know you still have family in Gaza and they've been moved 5 times and some of them are without shelter. How are they doing? Do you have much? Are you able to communicate with them?
You know, since the beginning of the incursion and the war in Gaza of the Israelis, you know, they move. I have 4 sisters and 4 brothers, plus nephews and cousin, around 50 people. You know, 50 to 55 people, like my first blood people. You know, and plus I have thousands of friends, families, and also relatives. You know, cousins and this and that. They've been moving now. This is the 5th displacement for them. And
They've been
every
through.
time,
Oh,
this is the 5th displacement for
fifth,
them.
the fifth
The
time. Okay.
we were in Gaza. They move after to Nusayrat, the middle of Gaza. Then they move to Rafah. Then they went back to Khan Yunis. Then back to Nusayrat. and now they are in Deir al-Balah, in mid of nowhere. And every time you need, when you move to another, this place to other place, I mean to a place or a tent or a relative or whatever, you need to have like covers, you need to have like, you know, your personal stuff, like, I mean, mattress to sleep in. Unfortunately, every time you displace, you cannot carry this belonging with you because first, it's too heavy. Second, there is no way to carry it in your shoulders for 5, 6 miles or 7 miles. And every time you leave things and you need the new things, you know, but they don't have it anymore. Palestinian living, there's no tents first. At the beginning, the tents were, built here and there with UN. Then the Israeli destroy it. It's not a safe haven anymore. It's not a safe area anymore. So people start to put a couple of plastic sheet around them to cover them from, but this is like, now it's summer, it's hot, and they had winter. And imagine yourself, like, this is very hard. And no food. If you are not in a refugee in the camps with UN or something, you're not going to have the food being given to donation because you are out of this district. Another things that it's very hard. They don't have enough. The people. When you are hungry, you fight for to survive. You have, people are now fighting to survive for their kids, but unfortunately, Israeli controlling borders, and it's shameful to the whole world and to the Arab world and to the Muslim world and to the humanity. Is what's going on in Gaza. It's shame on it's very shame on us as a human being to let genocide and stop people stop people eating, no water. Imagine yourself 250, now it's 57 days, 58 days without electricity, without water, without a bathroom. Imagine how bad and how bad you can be as a woman, as a child with no bathroom. We almost now have 1 million people being, sick, have diseases, and from hepatitis to hepatitis B, C until E. I lost my nephew last month of hepatitis A. He's 26 years old. How you can lose somebody with 26 years old of hepatitis A? Is it treatable everywhere in the world? And he died. He couldn't find a hospital to take him, a medicine to take. He was, it's unbelievable what. It's
well,
like
I heard
something.
they were using disease as a weapon and starvation as a weapon, and those numbers don't get counted into the death. I mean, those numbers are separate.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I agree with you. It harms all of humanity. It harms all of humanity, and it's we can't turn away. A lot of people are turning away, but we can't because this can't go on. This can't go on.
I think we are Palestinians, as Palestinian, all this baloney they were telling us about the human rights, about UN, about the right to exist, everything about the children rights, animal rights, anything. It's all, sorry for this, my language, it's all baloney. It's all lying. There's nothing in the ground being approved that these people were honest to support the humanity. Doesn't matter who. When it comes to Israel, everything is stopped. The double standard the world are using with Ukrainian war because it's Russian, and now Israel is against Palestinian. We're not a human. Why I have to be white? I have to be white with the blue eyes in order for you to support me as a human? I am supporting a human is a human. Doesn't matter the color, the race, anything.
Right.
We are under Israeli oppression. We are under Israeli genocide. Stop the genocide. All I'm asking is for you as an American, We appreciate what the conscious. We appreciate the human. The people are, you know, they are coming out, and in the Congress and everywhere they are doing a great job, and the students. But this is not enough, guys. We have to stop the genocide. The genocide must be stopped. The children dying every day. Our women dying every day. My family dying every day. So now I cannot afford for them a tent. No, I'm looking for to collect money here and there to buy a tent, because at least they're not gonna burn from heat. You know, it's not the safe haven. It's not. But we don't want to be normalized and normalizing the tent. We don't want you to normalize the scene of our children being killed and being cut to parts. You know, you saw, everybody saw in this. Then
Yeah, it's
we'll
very
be here.
disturbing. You mentioned the other day when I was listening, you mentioned that you know, you don't support also the strike in against Israel in October, at least the children. You had mentioned that, and I just wanted to touch on that just to let you.
I'd mention, if the resistance, if I be seen, approve of the resistance, any Palestinian resistance, doesn't matter if it's Hamas or anybody, go inside to any Israeli area and beheaded the children, I will disown them. I will disown them as Palestinians and as a freedom fighter, because I'm a freedom fighter. We never, it's not in our dictionary, it's not in our morality, it's not in our religion. There is no way for us to hurt a child, even a woman, even a woman. I'm talking about civilian woman. If there is a woman, she's a machine gun and she's with the Israeli army, that's a different story. You can fight her. But a woman, a pregnant woman, a child, this is taboo.
Yeah.
This is taboo. You know, this resistance came from our schools. We are the godfather of the school, and there is a people godfather. They know that this is taboo. We never tell them in the history that to touch children or to kill children. No way. It's against our religion, against our humanity, against us as occupied by Israelis to do what the Israeli do, we won't do. Even what they are doing right now to us, they're killing our children, they are beheading our children, they're blowing up everything. But I won't have the, you know, I have all the rage inside, all the anger inside, but I won't take it out in any Israeli child or Jewish child or any child. This is something that any human to do. It's not a human being can do it. But why they are doing